guys, what is up? Welcome back to the podcast. I actually am recording today's episode from the car. We will see how this goes. I had this fun idea, especially because we're going to be adding all of the videos, hopefully all of the videos to YouTube. As you guys know, I was just like, we need to shake things up. Plus, if you're following along on Instagram, you know that my office is just, it's hella dark in there. So we can't be spending all summer inside the office. So I grabbed a Starbucks, we've got our coffee, we are ready to go for today's episode. I've got you guys all propped up in here. I think I'm going to have to research some car stands for your phone. I know they exist because a lot of YouTubers talk about this, but here we are. I don't even know if the air conditioning is going to be picked up in the background. We shall see when I go to edit this. But we are here for another quickie episode on Friday, so let's just get right on into it. I wanted to take you guys through the making of the podcast party and what it means to stand out and be different online and come up with fun and creative ideas for yourself and to just do business differently. And that's really what I want today's message to be. Don't be afraid to be different online. Are there a lot of business strategies that I think are important to grow a business? Absolutely. There are smart business moves that you need to be taking. There are smart things that you can do on social media to get a leg up. Of course, consistency comes into it and making sure you're showing up. There are so many conversations we can have that go much deeper than just those surface level things I'm talking about. But these are the kinds of conversations I have with my clients in all kinds of my programs, especially Money Honey, which you guys know is on right now, and you can still jump in if you're hearing this because Money Honey it's a whole different way of doing business, and it really just clicks in the last puzzle pieces together. It truly does. So obviously there are, did I have an accent there? Obviously there are a lot of smart business moves that you can be taking, but don't be afraid to be different. You are meant to put your own spin on things, okay? So I don't want this cookie cutter thing happening in business, but it's running rampant right now, and I get it. It's you're already spending so much time trying to come up with the energy to grow your business, let alone creative and fresh ideas. I get that it's a lot of work. But what isn't working right now is everyone just rinsing and repeating the same thing that everyone else is doing. Sure, do the baseline strategy. Do I do the baseline strategy? Absolutely. I am making good, big moves in my business all the time. But come up with your fun way of doing it. And so the podcast party that we did is really another way to do this. This is an example of putting your own hype in it and doing something different. So I've got my coffee here. Obviously, you guys are going to hear that. You can't get a coffee and not drink a coffee, I want this stuff to feel, especially in the podcasting space, you guys, we're having a FaceTime conversation or we're sitting over a good cup of coffee and a glass of wine. If you've been a listener for a while, you know that is everything I intend for this podcast, and that is the vibe. So putting your own hype into it. I had to have my own fun with the podcast party, and that's why it was so successful. And this can be really simple moves that you can be implementing in your business, whether you have a podcast or not. The point is not go do your own podcast party. That is not your inspired action, right? But the inspired action is, okay, how could I add some juice to this? How could I have some more fun? What else could I be doing to connect with my audience differently, but also have fun on my end, okay? So you don't need to hire a balloon company and throw your own party. These can be really simple things that you're doing inside your home even. Although I did throw a party for myself the first time I launched Money Honey, and it was a whole vibe, and it was so much fun, and it picked up a lot of attention. Why? Because it was different. You can pretty much look at any typical business on social media and guess what they're going to do next. And that's not really where we want to play. Especially if you want to be growing a big business, which obviously if you're listening to this podcast, you do. And so you got to be willing to just you take a leap of faith and do something different. So I've been there, like, bored out of my tree, you guys, with my own business, with my own marketing, where it feels like, okay, another day, gotta get it done, another week, another podcast episode, rinse and repeat for any part of your business, right? If our work isn't enjoyable, it's gonna be felt. It is going to be felt. Now, are there seasons for sure where you just kind of like are going through the motions? Absolutely. It happens to me too. But when I wasn't having fun, everybody felt it. And I could tell because of my stats. I could tell because of my own energy. I could tell because of the way I was going about my to-do list and getting things done in my business and whatever else. So here's your permission to do fun things inside your business, especially as we're heading into summer. It's such a fun season. Pick up on that energy that's naturally already happening around you. How can you make this next part of your business have more ease and more fun with it? More ease is like, let's not get stuck in the perfectionism. Let's not wait until things are perfect. Let's not try and fight an uphill battle or swim upstream with our business. How can you make more ease in your business, make it work for you? Examples, like minor examples I can think of right off the top of my head is like, I am not coming up with some fancy reel cover every time I do my reel. I just don't have time for that. So we're going to make things easier on myself and understand that my reels are going to get a better reach without doing that, because Instagram prefers that, and it's going to work for me instead of working against me. But you can take that and apply that to so much inside your business. Like, I am all for rewriting our beliefs and doing what we're resisting and blah, blah, blah. But there's a difference between that and making your business work for you. So number one, here's your permission to, one, make things work for you, but how can you infuse more ease and fun into what you're doing? I want to go through some more examples inside my business of how I'm adding fun, because it'll help you get the wheels turning for your own business, and how you might be able to start to apply this to some of your things too. So number one is obviously the podcast party. I used a new streaming platform for the podcast party, and you guys, for me, it's fun to like do new things like that all the time. It's so funny because someone's pulling up beside me, and they're probably like, what is this chick doing? She's holding a microphone. She's recording herself. She has her computer out. It is a whole other battle showing up online and building an online business. I do not live in LA. This is not normal behavior where I live. So here's your permission to do it, even though people are probably looking at you. She's looking at her phone. She's not even looking at me. If you're watching this on YouTube, which remember, you can come watch the episodes on YouTube as well. She's a mom in her minivan, not concerned with me. She's got a 5-minute break, and she is on her phone. We love that. Okay, moving on. The podcast party. For me, it's fun to try new things and learn, like, cool new apps and cool new streaming apps. And, like, I have a lot of fun on YouTube personally, consuming YouTube, okay? Obviously, I'm brand new, and I feel like I want to crawl out of my own skin, learning YouTube for myself and putting myself out there. A girlfriend and I were talking about this the other night, and she's just like, I'm so proud of you for putting yourself out there, because that's a whole other level of, like, really seeing yourself. And to be honest, you guys, all my self-consciousness is, like, flooding back up to the surface, because watching yourself on a full-length video is so different than Instagram. It is so different. So I'm digressing. Personally, I really love consuming YouTube, and I actually love when some of the YouTubers are using certain streaming platforms. It's fun, it's creative, they're engaging the audience, they're showing things, they're like reviewing things. I follow a few lawyers who do this. I love it. I love it. And I was like, fine, maybe I could play with that streaming platform too and apply it to my business. So I did for the podcast party. It was so fun. I had some fun, like, live stickers, a little ticker tape across the bottom. It's fun for the consumer on the other end as well. I felt more elevated from doing it because, to be very honest, you guys, the 1 million subscribers, I almost said $1 million version of me. I mean her too. But the 1 million subscribers on YouTube version of me, she's doing stuff like that all the time because she knows her audience loves it. She's not waiting until she has more than 2 views on her YouTube channel. You guys, I'm starting from scratch. It is humbling. Humbling. If I can do this, so can you. Trust me, okay? And I rearranged my office to have this like cute little background for my podcast party. And not only that, it really spiced things up in my office to like move my computer. I was more productive. I have this cute little sitting area where I can come up with more good ideas for the podcast. Like, but don't wait until you have an office space. Don't wait until you have a moment in the car. Like, make it work for you. I work with a lot of moms, and one thing we've been talking about for some of them starting their own podcasts is like, okay, you're not going to have a quiet spot in the house during the summer. Guess what? My best sound quality is in my car. So maybe you could record it from your car. Like, there's fun ways to do this. Like, go drive to the beach, record it at the beach or your favorite, like, park. Like, I don't know. Maybe not the park where there's children, but you get my point, right? It's like, have more fun with it. Another thing I'm going to be doing this summer is there's a beach town that I love. I have loved it since I was a little girl. It's very nostalgic for me. I feel different there. I have my eyes on a couple of properties there, a couple of properties that are definitely within our reach right now, and a couple of properties that will expand the hell out of me, and they're like my next level version of me. Like, I probably can't afford them today, but someday I'll be recording the podcast from there. And so I'm going to actually go do my content from that beach town. Not that I'm going to be sitting on the beach recording myself, because you guys should see me on trips. Like, especially like my mom and my aunt recently went on a trip to Beverly Hills with me, and I was so nervous to like take pictures and videos in front of people, especially in the pool area. Like, I am not your average influencer who will just whip out her phone anywhere. That ain't me, okay? So if you have those fears, like, you can still be very successful doing this. But what I mean is, I already have my content wrote out for the month of June. I've decided, like, I am, like, not fucking around in 2023, and I think you guys can feel it. Like, I am taking big action. Like, I am not sitting waiting around for things. Like, absolutely not. So I have my whole content plan done for June, and I really got thinking about this because I was surprised how quickly I got it done. I got it done in about an hour and a half. I did a nighttime session when actually Matt was out of the house, which was like really helpful because I can't think when people are around. And I turned on some good YouTubes, and I just went for it. And I went with the first thought I had for each post instead of overthinking it. And I was like, oh, this is so much more doable than I thought to like get back into the swing of things with my content and get ahead of it. And then I got thinking the other day, I was just like, I'm really happy with my plan, by the way. I think it's very good. I think you guys are going to love the posts that are coming out. They're going to be really helpful. But also, I got thinking, like, God, you know, why is the goal to spend less time on social media? Not even time, because you guys know I'm a fan of time hacking things, but, like, intention. You know, if we're looking to really get from this platform, and all the platforms we're using really, I mean, I'm speaking specifically about Instagram here, but if we want to grow our businesses on Instagram, yet we are trying to like basically draw blood from the stone and not actually give it the intention that it needs to get something back from, like, we're kind of doing this backwards. And so I got thinking about that, and I was like, okay, great job. I've got my plan done. How can I take this to the next level? Because I want to be there for my audience, because I'm here for the long term, because I want to grow a real big business. I'm not here to just make some quick wins and some quick money and get out. Like, that's not what I'm here for. And so I was like, oh my God, I know. I'm going to go to this beach town to the one coffee shop I love with my laptop, and I'm going to review my plan and take it up a notch and take it across the finish line, meaning making the posts, writing the captions, zhuzhing it up a little bit. Where else could I add in some, like, fun things that are happening? What else could I show people? How could this relate to my YouTube plan? I'm going to take that hour and a half I spent planning the month already and just take it across the finish line. And I know that it's going to do better because I'm putting myself in an environment that's fun. I like being in that space. But, you know, it's really interesting, like, letting this social media be, like, 5% of my mental capacity, not even. That's really what I've been giving it, if I'm getting very honest with myself, and I'm sure people can relate to this. Like, I was trying to do the least amount possible, really, over there. Not because I don't care about people, not because I don't love you guys, not because I'm, like, trying to get from you guys, but it's just such an interesting realization to have. If we want social media to be a big driver in business, why are we giving it so little capacity, so little intention, right? social media is the main way I grow my business, and it's going to be the main way you guys grow your businesses. Yet we're giving it 5% of the overall business. It's wild to me. So how can you come up with like the fun, creative energy to pour back into your account as well? And that's one thing I'm going to be doing this summer. I'm also switching up the Friday podcast, as you guys know, listening to this, or if you're watching it right now on YouTube. Like, I decided, okay, we're going to do it from the car. This is another fun way to do it. Like, okay, get myself out of my office, get myself out of my head. I mean, it's a little weird because the minivan's parked beside me, but go get a coffee, go make a fun drink, even if coffee's not your thing. Make a cute water. Have you guys seen Water Talk on TikTok? I am not even clicking on the videos because I do not want my algorithm filled with it, but I saw a YouTube video on it the other day, and there's this like water talk thing going on TikTok where, I don't know, I think they said it's these moms from Utah. It's like, how come Utah has like clicks in TikTok? Like, I want to go to Utah so bad. I told Matt it's like now on my list. But there's a lot of clicks in Utah from TikTok. I don't know. You guys tell me what's up with that. But anyways, there's this water talk thing going on where they're like making these like fancy drinks with their water, and I don't know a better way to explain this, but pretend it's like Crystal Light mixes, like 7 Crystal Light mixes to like make this like certain drink. Anyways, apparently it's a thing. You could start a water talk. I don't know. But like the point is like get out of your space and have fun with it. It's fun for me to go get a coffee, get away from the house, come here, talk to myself in the camera. Sounds psychotic, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? I could do this at home with mocktails, which I actually have some plans for some of my stuff coming up this summer. But like, make a cute mocktail, because like, you guys, like, I do love having a drink, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to actually like have wine every night. I don't want to have a cocktail every night. Not judging. It's just like I'm so sluggish the next day. I just don't feel good in my body. But I could make some cute mocktails, make a little mocktail bar station in my office, have fun with it, you know? All of this is what the next level version of me does. The next level version of me who has the big YouTube channel, who has the listeners on the podcast, who has the bigger Instagram account, who has the bigger business, like she's doing these things, but we're never going to magically have space in our calendar to do it. It's never going to line up perfectly. You're never going to have all the steps ready. It's the biggest lesson I've learned starting YouTube. Like, we are not ready. We are not ready to be doing a vlog. I am not ready to be launching the podcast, and here we are at the time of recording this. The first vlog is going out today. I'm not ready for it. The covers are not the way I want it. The intro is not the way I want it. The filming was an absolute disaster because my internet just couldn't do it. Anyways, we're still doing it because it's never going to line up perfectly. And if I waited for things to be perfect, my podcast still would not be launched, because I had no business starting the podcast when I did, and I had no time, and I had no good ideas, and I was fumbling my way through it, and I just felt like I was kind of talking into Neverland for like 2 years. But you have to start, or else like it's never going to get up off the ground. And I know that seems so obvious, but someone needs to hear that today. Like, you just need to start it. Do it because things are going to be fun, and because you want to give back, and because you love talking about what you want to talk about, your things that you love talking about. Don't do it as long as people are showing up, as long as people are listening, as long as people are going to join your podcast party or whatever else, right? It can be felt. It can be felt. So let this be your moment of like reset. If you feel like this is creeping in a little bit, because it creeps in on all of us, use it as your reset. How can you have more ease and fun this summer in your activities, because your audience is going to feel that? Go take the messy action, because that's what your higher level self would be doing right now. Have fun. Spice up the little moments. You'll be surprised how they all add up and how they help you stand out, you guys. Stand out. I stand out online. I take very good strategic business moves, and I stand out because I don't feel like it has to look like everybody else's. I'm underneath it all, taking the strategy, taking the moves, but I'm willing to be myself and put my own spin on it, and you're going to stand out. That's the whole game right now on social media. So thank you so much for being here, you guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Weekends are good for coming up with fun ideas. So let this percolate and see what comes up for you. I can't wait to hear all of your ideas. If you would like to hear anything new on the podcast, things you'd like me to talk about, please leave that in the review section of the podcast. I read through every single review, and it means so much to me when you guys take the time to leave a review. It also actually really helps the podcast. If I'm just going to be blunt about it, it helps the podcast go through the algorithm differently on the podcasting platform. So if you have a second, it would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much, and I will see you over in the next episode. Bye.